Hello everyone, Yuval Teren is here, communication coach and human analyst. And in today's episode, I want to dive into the ability of reducing our fears in life. Whether it's a fear from spiders, planes, or failure, whatever you fear from, I want to dive how the power of guided imagery can help us reduce our fears so we can progress in life, develop ourselves, and grow to be the person we were born to be and express it out to the world. Because sometimes we have those fears that maybe will make us stop and will make us feel that we can't achieve it. So I'll start with an experience working with one of my clients. One of my clients had flight fear, and they couldn't go on a plane. So one of the things, as I come from the NLP background, I'm a master NLP practitioner, I worked with my client on how she perceived her fear. Now, what does it mean? So when we have fear in our mind, I would say, we perceive it in a certain way through our senses. And it's a subject that's called submodalities that basically Dr. Richard Bandler and John Grinder, they are the founders of NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming. It's the research of excellence and the subjective experience in our life, how we experience life through our own senses and perspectives, and how we can change those perspectives to reach our goals, improve our life, and live with confidence and with joy, basically improve our life quality through that. So what they discovered is that our brain, our mind, has certain distinctions in our sensory experiences, like brightness, size, volume, and all of those distinctions change our experience of fear. So going back to my client, as I worked with her on her flight fear, she wanted to fly with her husband and kids abroad for a trip in the summer, but she feared so much from being on a plane, the idea of being on a plane, that she couldn't book it. So what I did, we worked on it one session. That's all it took, one session. That what we did is working on her submodalities, how she perceived her fear. So I asked her to describe me when she think of a plane, what does she see? So she described for me a plane as a small can with wings that is hanged in the air. So from her description, you can understand why does she fear. Because some people, when they would think about plane, they would imagine this, wide space that flies confidently in the air, and you sit calmly and you have space and you have maybe food, but the way you perceive the fear is different. And that's what makes us fear. So the way she perceived their fear is like a flying can with wings. So what I did, working as a guided, I won't go to the whole process, but in the idea of it is that we worked through guided imagery on her perspective of the fear. So I asked her to change from a can to see it as a plane, sitting on a big plane, having a large space, make it comfortable, make it relaxed, comfortable as a sofa. So I worked with how her mind perceived the fear, and we changed those perspectives in her mind, how she perceived it. We made some changes. So we changed it from a can to a big plane, comfortable, like a sofa, sitting on a sofa, relaxed, calm. And from, she said she hear like a rusty can noise, a rusty noise. So we worked on what else could be, if not the rusty noise, maybe, hear the engine, the strong engine that can hold the plane. So I did few things. And after this session of guided imagery, of working with her perspective of the fear, she booked a flight with her husband and kids, and she texted me after and said, wow, thank you so much. I flew calmly. I never had the ability to fly on a plane abroad, fearless. And she would never book a flight because she would fear from flights. Think about it. Now, this idea of having the ability to change our perspective that will affect on our fears is a great idea for us. Why? Because we understand that fears are a perspective. Some people, that's the idea. Some people fear from spiders, some people not. Some people fear from planes, some people not. Why? Because people perceive it differently. And we want to understand how we perceive our fears first. So if you perceive from spiders, just a cool experience you can do. Think about how you imagine spiders. Do you imagine them as large, scary animal with teeth, or small, tiny animal that you can squish with your hand? So how you perceive that fear, and work on changing those images. You got to practice your mind in changing those images. So if you see it big, I see it close to my face, push it backwards, push it away from you in your mind, push it away from you, make it far, and shrink it in your mind. Make it small, 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 in a size that it doesn't bother you. And watch your feelings. How do you feel when it's far away or it's close to you? What are the differences in your feelings? So that's a very strong idea of how guided imagery can benefit us in our life from just changing our perspective. And that's the main idea of guided imagery, basically, is helping us working with the images, with our perspectives in our life, and change it, how we perceive our life, because life is all about perspective. Two people can have the same experience, have the same, not experience, two people can be in the same situation and have two different experiences. Not a long time ago, me and a friend went to, we went to a meeting, and I felt very good after that meeting. I felt very welcomed. And my friend said, wow, I didn't feel so that we were very welcomed. And even though we were very welcomed over there, what he perceived over there was his approach to their tonality, the way they talked with him, made him feel some different experience from this situation. And I had different experience from that situation. So it's just the idea of that, having two people having the same situation but experience different things, shows you the power of our mind, of our imagination, and how our imagination can change our feelings, emotions, because seeing a spider and reacting to it, that's our brain, our mind is doing that work. So the same way we learned how to fear, we can learn how to feel calm when we see spiders, or how do we want to react when we see spider. So working with that image that we have, with those submodalities, with that image that we can perceive, and change that image in our mind, shrink it, make it bigger, far away, closer to us, would help us reduce our fears. And it's a very cool, easy technique that you can use in your life right after this podcast episode, by the way, which is a cool idea. And I want you to try it out, because as simple it is, it's doing great results. And of course, there is a lot of depth into it, and a lot of psychology behind it. And there are more deeper ways to go into that. But just as a cool technique that you can use right after, it's something amazing that I would like you to try and experience, and also share with me questions that you have about it, and I will answer also on my Instagram story or send me messages on my Instagram, Yuval Teren. Feel free. I'm here for you guys. So remember that. So as a summary of our podcast today episode is remembering that our imagination can change our reality. And how we perceive fears, we can change it out. We change our perspective, how we perceived it, will change our experience to that fear, to that trigger. So feel free to ask me any questions, whatever you want. I'm here for you guys. I'll see you at the next episode of Live Your Best Self. Have a great day. Thank you very much, everyone.